Welcome back to Days of Our Lives. This week, Salem isn't celebrating Thanksgiving, it's surviving it. Because between a shocking shooter confession, a kidnapping no one sees coming, and a holiday dinner filled with secrets, the week of November 24th to 28 is about to flip the entire board upside down. So let's dive deep into every twist, every clue, and every dangerous secret that is about to explode. The weekly promo erupts with a moment that feels both inevitable and devastating. For weeks, viewers have watched Rachel Black unravel. Small clues, sudden flashbacks, a fear she couldn't explain. But this week, everything snaps into place. Rachel finally remembers what happened the night DiMera was shot, and it's not a fragmented memory anymore. It's crystal clear, sharp, undeniable. She sits across from Brady, trembling, eyes wide and vacant, like she's staring straight into the past. Her voice breaks as she finally says the words, "Dad. Kristen didn't shoot Uncle EJ. I did." The confession detonates inside that room. Brady's face goes from confusion, to disbelief, to sheer horror. He shakes his head, refuses to accept it, tries to convince her she's confused, because the alternative is unthinkable. He clings to the idea that Kristen is guilty. He needs someone older, someone responsible, someone who can bear the punishment. But Rachel won't let him rewrite the truth. She remembers lifting the gun. She remembers her hand shaking. She remembers the noise, the scream, the way everything went black afterward. This isn't a dramatic outburst. This isn't a child trying to protect her mother. This is a complete psychological breakdown triggered by the return of a traumatic memory. From here, Rachel spirals. Her breathing turns erratic. She can't stop crying. Her words start colliding, each one more frantic than the last. By midweek, she collapses, emotionally and physically, and Brady rushes her to the hospital. Doctors whisper terms like acute trauma response, panic-induced dissociation, self-harm risk. They sedate her, not to silence her, but to protect her from the storm in her own mind. And when Tate arrives, standing in the doorway of her hospital room, pale and shaken, the weight of the moment becomes even heavier. He sits beside her, saying nothing, because what can he say? A child shot a DiMera. A child changed the future of two powerful families. And now Salem has to face a question it has never faced before. What happens when the shooter is a child, and the victim is a DiMera? This confession is not an ending. It is the beginning of a war that will rip through the Brady Black DiMera legacy. Over at the Horton house, Thanksgiving preparations should feel cozy, warm, hopeful. But instead, there's a quiet sadness in the air. Charlotte DiMera, full of innocence and excitement, scribbles a little note and cheerfully announces her holiday wish. "I want Daddy to come home." She smiles, the pure, trusting smile of a child who believes the world is good. But her words land like a knife. Jennifer tries to keep the mood light, forcing a smile even though her eyes betray the truth. Thomas lowers his head, gripping the edge of the table like he's trying not to cry. Because neither of them knows where Chad is. But they think they know why he hasn't come home. They assume he's staying away to give Thomas space, after the tension, after the guilt, after the emotional distance that's been haunting them. They think this is a family issue. But viewers know better. They know Charlotte's wish is already impossible, because Chad isn't choosing to stay away. He's missing, kidnapped, completely cut off. The heartbreak of the scene comes from the contrast. A child wishing for her father, while her father's life is hanging in the balance. Charlotte's innocent hope becomes one of the week's most painful moments, because the audience knows that her Thanksgiving dream won't come true. And the worst part? No one in the Horton house realizes Chad is in danger. Not yet. As his family prepares Thanksgiving dinner, Chad opens his eyes to complete darkness. He's lying on a cold stone floor. His wrists ache. His head throbs. The air is damp, thick with the smell of dust and old secrets. When he tries to stand, he hears the clatter of chains. He's not in a warehouse. Not in a basement. Not in one of Salem's usual holding spots. He's in the DiMera crypt, the family tomb. A place built for dead DiMeras, now being used to imprison living ones. As Chad's eyes adjust to the dim light, he hears a voice. Kristen's voice. Angry, confused, terrified. Then another. Tony DiMera, equally trapped. All three of them locked inside the same stone chamber, none of them understanding how or why they were taken. And that's when the dread sinks in. This was planned. This was targeted. This was personal. Someone is orchestrating something massive, a coordinated attack on the DiMera family. This isn't a kidnapping for ransom. It isn't revenge from a random enemy. It is strategy. Someone wants DiMeras off the board. Why these three? Kristen, the wild card. Tony, the diplomat. Chad, the heir with the most emotional ties. It's like watching chess pieces being removed one by one. Chad tries to break free. Kristen tries to analyze motives. Tony tries to keep the peace. But none of them have answers. And the crypt itself becomes a metaphor. The living trapped among their ancestors. A warning that the DiMera legacy may be facing its end. Every whisper, every footstep outside the crypt deepens the mystery. Is EJ the next target? Is this connected to the shooting? Is the villain inside the family, or outside it? One thing is clear. This isn't just a kidnapping storyline. This is the opening chapter of a larger DiMera war, one that could redefine the entire dynasty. While the adults of Salem fight secrets, kidnappings, and confessions, the teens create their own small island of peace, a friendsgiving that feels almost out of place in such a chaotic week. Holly sets the table with mismatched plates. Ari brings a homemade dish she pretends isn't burned. Erin jokes around, trying to keep everyone laughing. For a brief moment, it feels like the world has stopped spinning. Tate joins the group with a rare, relaxed smile, the kind he only shows when he feels safe, when he's surrounded by people his own age instead of the constant drama of the adult world. The energy is warm, youthful, genuine. They tease each other, talk about school, dream about the future. It's the kind of scene DOOL rarely gives us, normal teenage happiness. But happiness in Salem never survives for long. Just as the group settles in, Tate's phone rings. He steps away, and then his entire body language changes. His shoulders lock. His face drains of color. His hand trembles. Rachel has collapsed. She's in the hospital. And the truth about the shooting, the truth she could no longer bury, has pushed her past her breaking point. The laughter disappears. Tate barely says goodbye before rushing out the door. When he arrives at the hospital, everything feels wrong. The lights are too bright. Brady looks shattered. Rachel looks fragile, small, pale, connected to machines she shouldn't need at her age. Tate sits beside her quietly. No teasing, no jokes, just silent support, the kind of loyalty that changes a person. 2 kids, too many secrets, too much trauma. This moment carves something into Tate that will follow him for months. Because this isn't just a crisis. It's the moment he realizes how deep the Brady-Black DiMera feud truly goes, and how easily kids like him and Rachel get caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, across Salem, the adults gather in a place that has seen decades of heartbreak and healing, the Brady pub. Before heading there, Alex and Stephanie share a drink with Chanel, light chatter, easy laughter, and the gentle awkwardness of 2 exes trying to pretend their history isn't sitting between them. Then they all walk into the pub, a room glowing with Thanksgiving decorations, warm lights, and the first real sense of peace we've seen all week. Roman is carving a turkey with practiced hands. Kate watches him, her smile small but sincere. Kayla and Steve whisper to each other softly, sharing a quiet moment that reminds fans why they are one of DOOL's most iconic couples. It feels safe. It feels warm. It feels like home. But beneath the comfort, something else simmers. Alex and Stephanie keep stealing glances, not longing, not regret, but recognition. They both feel it, a shift, subtle but undeniable. This is not closure. This is not the end of their story. It's the setup. The calm before the emotional chaos. The scene that looks peaceful on the surface but is quietly rearranging their future. And while the holiday warmth wraps around everyone in the room, viewers can sense it. This moment is temporary. This harmony is fragile. Something, or someone, will break it soon. Thanksgiving at the pub is a nostalgic tribute to the past, but it's also the first domino in storylines about to collide. And then comes the moment that softens the entire week. Belle arrives at Marlena's hospital room carrying a small tray, homemade food, festive decorations, and a determination to bring Thanksgiving to her mother. It's simple but deeply emotional. Marlena smiles the moment she sees her, a tired, gentle smile that says more than any words could. Belle sets up everything: a tiny pumpkin, a handmade centerpiece, a plate of Thanksgiving favorites, even a folded napkin shaped like a turkey, clearly made with love, and probably a bit of frustration. Their conversation is quiet, warm, heartfelt, the kind of moment DOOL fans treasure. But this scene is more than a mother and daughter sharing a holiday. It's a turning point. Belle's presence signals a shift in the Evans-Black family dynamic. When Belle shows up meaningfully, the storyline usually deepens, and this week feels like the beginning of something bigger. Her tenderness toward Marlena hints at future emotional arcs, old wounds resurfacing, family alliances strengthening, and perhaps Belle facing challenges of her own this winter. As Marlena reaches for Belle's hand, it becomes clear, amid the chaos of kidnappings, shootings, and collapsing families, Thanksgiving still has room for love. And DOOL uses this moment to remind fans that no matter how dark the story gets, there's always one bright, human scene that binds everything together. And now we arrive at the storyline that looks harmless on the surface, but might trigger the biggest emotional explosion of the entire season. At the Hernandez home, the house is filled with warm lights, the smell of food, and a rare sense of family comfort. This should be a safe space, a holiday moment untouched by Salem's usual chaos. But not with Gabby Hernandez. Because Gabby is making a choice this Thanksgiving. A bold choice. A calculated choice. A dangerous choice. She invites Philip Kuriakis to join her family for dinner, a move that instantly changes the tone of the night. Philip walks in holding flowers, smiling softly, clearly touched by the invitation. For a man who has battled insecurity, mental strain, and betrayal in the past, this moment feels like redemption. A chance at connection. A chance at love he thought he might never deserve again. And Gabby, she plays the part perfectly. She welcomes him warmly. She laughs at his jokes. She gives him long glances across the table, glances that make Philip believe there's something real between them. The dinner is filled with chatter, clinking plates, and the simple rhythm of a family gathering. Then Philip stands to give a Thanksgiving speech, something heartfelt, vulnerable, and unexpectedly emotional. He says he's thankful for loyalty, for trust, for second chances. His voice shakes slightly, just enough for viewers to feel the sincerity behind every word. But Gabby sits there, smiling sweetly, while her conscience silently crumbles. Because the truth is rotting underneath that tablecloth. Gabby has been secretly working with DiMera, not to support Philip, not to build something new, but to sabotage the Titan-DiMera merger that Philip fought so hard to protect. She's playing both sides, leading Philip toward hope, while pulling the floor from beneath his feet. The way Gabby looks at Philip, the soft smile, the lowered eyes, it all hides a brutal truth. She is betraying him at the worst possible moment. Philip, blissfully unaware, is falling deeper. He sees a future. He sees trust healing. He sees the possibility of love where there used to be heartbreak. But fans know what's coming. Gabby's lie is not small. It is a time bomb. One that will detonate the second Philip learns the truth. And when it does, it won't just break his heart. It will reignite old wounds, old anger, and old trauma that Philip has barely recovered from. Gabby Hernandez has always played with fire. But this time, she may burn someone who doesn't deserve the flames. The week of November 24th isn't just dramatic. It's revelatory, the kind of week that fractures an entire canvas of storylines at once. In a single stretch of episodes, Salem transforms. A child confesses to a shooting that rewrites a months-long mystery. A father disappears into darkness, kidnapped and locked inside the DiMera crypt, as his family unknowingly sets the table without him. The DiMeras, one by one, fall like dominoes, pulled into a silent, calculated trap. The Brady and Black families splinter under the pressure of guilt, fear, and secrets that come crashing to the surface. The teens face trauma far beyond their years. And a romantic spark at the Hernandez house threatens to become a full-fledged tragedy once betrayal is exposed. Thanksgiving should be a pause. A breath. A moment of healing. But in Salem, Thanksgiving becomes a battlefield. Every table is set with warmth, but every character sits with hidden truths. Every smile masks fear. Every hug hides a lie. And every moment of peace feels like the silence before thunder. This week doesn't close storylines. It opens wounds. It rearranges loyalties. It ushers in a December that promises to be one of the darkest months Salem has faced in years. Because the fallout is coming, fast, violent, and unavoidable. So stay tuned, because what begins this week will not end quietly. And for the people of Salem, the storm has only just begun.